All right, we are live. Marco Benitez, welcome to the future of fitness, my friend.
Thank you so much, Eric. Very, very excited. It's like an honor being here, and also it's like having a talk with a good friend, one of my best friends. So it's going to be very fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and truly, it's long overdue. I'm just going to set the table for our conversation about you and Rook here by saying, like, I think you guys first came on my radar right around 2020. I was working with Morpheus, Joel Jameson, and at the time, obviously, it was pre-pandemic or it was right in pandemic. Everything was going to shit. It was not the best time for the fitness industry. We don't have to rehash that now, but it was bad timing. And what Morpheus was doing was we were integrating, and what he still does. This is Joel Jameson. It was like integrating a bunch of wearable data for recovery purposes, right? And at the time, that was revolutionary, right? Pulling all wearable data into one app and making it usable. And, it's kind of a fun, cool feature. But now, I'll reference a conversation I had with Dr. Gloria Winter. She's the
Hmm.
chief health officer at the YMCA. She basically said that, digital health data is going to be the foundation upon which we build the next healthcare system. So it's gone from a cool feature to fundamentally changing how we look at healthcare and preventative health. You guys are right in the middle. You're laying the plumbing, you're laying the groundwork for how this is all done. So super excited having you on. I think we're going to learn a lot from this conversation with you today, Marco. So let's start with like this, with, as always, give us a little bit of your background. How'd you be the co-founder and CEO of Rook? And we'll take it from.
Yeah, sounds great. I mean, I'm very excited because again, data is something that it's revolution. It's revolution in different areas like AI and different type of things. Yeah, let's start from the beginning. I'm Marco Benitez. I am one of the co-founders. I'm the CEO. I'm from Mexico, so it's like but I live here in the US in Naples, in the beautiful Naples. It's so good right now. By the way, the weather. But yeah, my background is I'm biomedical engineer. I have a second degree in biomedics. Rook, in fact, it's my second startup. My first startup, I get an exit in 2006. So we were very, very young. I always said that on those days, startup was not even a word, at least in Mexico. So here in the US, I agree, it was a completely different space and momentum. But in Mexico, it was not the same thing. So only traditional companies on those days. And we built an algorithm for hospitals on those days. My previous co-founder now is again my co-founder. He's the CTO. He's my best friend. We know each other from the last, I don't know, 20 and ish years. So on those days were very interesting. Then we sold the company. Was not a big exit, but that helps a lot, to complete studies and start to do something with the money and try to invest in different type of things. But again, on those days in 2006, the world was completely different. After that, I traveled a little bit. I was in Europe and different places, and then starting to work in big pharma. Big pharma, it's very interesting area. It's a very interesting industry. I really love the big pharma, even though that it's like a very big enterprise, very big and doing a lot of stuff. And I can tell you that not a lot of people like big pharma, but now that I worked before in big pharma, I understand a lot of things. I was involved in clinical trials between phase one and phase four in oncology, respiratory, vaccines. And believe me, it's a huge opportunity for those patients that doesn't have any type of, for an oncology, someone who has cancer, for example, it's like they don't have any chance. They don't have any drugs available for them. Only the old therapeutic activities like chemio and all these type of things. But then big pharma bring the opportunity to test a specific molecule drug that can help me to improve, the life and, have a better at least release. So for me, it was very interesting. I was involved again in data. I was involved in making, help the principal investigators to the activities with the trial. So I really love that. I was between GSK, Novartis, Roche. In Roche, I was the head of medical affairs for Latin America and part of the US. So again, was like helping them to make the landscaping for different molecules, which type of protocols need to be implemented in Latin America or in the US in order to receive the FDA clearance. So again, A lot of learnings. One of the biggest one is when you have a lot of information, you can create things. But secondly, when you have a lot of data, you can improve people's lives. So that's why we start to build Rook. That's the beginning. That's how because again, we have been in this industry, at least in the fitness, wellness, health, the last 8 years. So we started before pandemic. And before pandemic, we have a different business model. We have like something like my zone, which is this effort zone calorie burn in real time with a wearable. We create also a wearable. We had before a heart rate monitor for chest and another one for the arm. And we create that. So it was very interesting because we bootstrap that company. Mainly we have the fitness clubs in Mexico and then in the south of the US. And it was very interesting because we learned a lot of stuff. We were the Mason in a cheapest and let's say like cost effective. Let me change the word cost effective as a version from Mason, and we had a lot of fitness clubs in Latin America. So a lot of fun. We understood a little bit how does the system work, a SaaS platform, these type of things. And then during pandemic, as you said before, the pandemic changed everything. At least between 40 to 50% of the fitness clubs, at least in Latin America, in specific in Mexico. Mexico is the fifth country that have more fitness clubs in the whole world. So between the 40 and 50%, everyone closed. We understand different type of things. First, we create something for the fitness, for the virtual fitness. So we create the same environment, but virtually. And then also we start to ask a lot of questions with our clients, like what type of things you want to improve? What type of things do you want to show? And we realize that everyone want to use their own wearable. They have Apple Watches, they have Polars, they have Garmin's, Whoops, all of that. And we were like, interesting. What if we start to integrate wearables in our own platform? And was a big surprise, but we start to see a ramp up in the use of our in our platform. So that was very interesting, and we start to see patterns. By the way, starting to integrate wearables was very difficult. We saw the mess over there because every single time that we integrate a specific wearable, we saw a lot of updates, and we start to see that we have to use a lot of our time from our developers to just working in those integrations. And secondly, make sense of all these data because every single wearable give you the information in a very different way. So standardize everything, it was a thing. So that's how we started. And then when we saw the opportunity was in LA, in the health connected, what's the name?
Oh, the connected health and fitness.
Exactly. I always have problem with the name, but it's like we had that conversation with someone with an insurance company over there. An insurance company told us was the CEO of this insurtech company. They told us, "Hey, I have a big problem. I have a not a fitness. We have a corporate wellness application, and we want to integrate wearables. However, it's very difficult. We already invest a lot of our resources, and we can't make it work. Can you integrate your platform in our own platform?" And we said, interesting, that's another opportunity. Well, we have to bring and we have to create an API. And she was like, okay, I can pay for that. Maybe we can do something. No kidding. Next month, no, not next week, they pay to create this API. And that's how everything started. Was very funny, but everything was, at the end of the day, everything it's like an opportunity, and you have to be very open to hear, listen, and then implement and see how start to see the market. Wearables penetrations. You start to see a lot of FDA clearance. The Apple Watch during pandemics receive an FDA clearance. Not only Apple Watch, also other wearables start to review and see how can they be like more a medical device, because I think that there is no better source, or there's no better device that can track you 24/7 hours. It's impressive. You can find a lot of information on these devices. So yeah, that's how how we and what.
Yeah, it's excuse me. The entrepreneurial journey is so interesting sometimes. You never rarely end up where you think you're gonna end up when you start. Right? When you're envisioning like you guys started by the way, a hardware company, like wearable hardware, like that's a very challenging business, man.
Oh yeah.
It's very challenging. So, obviously, transitioning to software and APIs is a much more scalable model, but, has its own challenges. When you talk about like wearable data, and maybe, I'm sure you guys work with a lot of different data. So, maybe if there's, I don't know if you guys work with, other biometrics like blood work or anything like that. But yeah, maybe you could paint the picture for all the type of data that's available. What would it take for it to be truly trusted and used in the healthcare industry as like, this is real data that we're going to, bring into our medical professions and use with in a clinical sense? Like, what is that going to take, or is it already happening?
It's happening right now. It's happening in some industries. For example, clinical trials. In the clinical trials with big pharma, they are incorporating these wearables because it's the best way to track and also to decentralize the clinical trials, because normally it works like the patient has to go with the physician, with the doctor every month, for example, or every 15 days, because they are trying to track adverse events. Of course, they need to implement the drug, but also they are looking for adverse events. So basically, for example, in vaccines, they are looking for temperature. So there's a lot of wearables outside that already measure temperature, and they can see the patterns. They can see if there's like an elevation of the temperature. So it's the best way to start looking for adverse events. So it's, for example, that industry already, when I was over there, they started to incorporate wearables on those days. And we are talking about 10 years ago. So now they are using a little bit more. Also, they are starting to use for once the drug is outside for pharmacovigilance. So there's a lot of industries, and I can't tell, unfortunately, the names of those big companies that are reaching out to us because they are already using it. But it's like it's becoming very, very interesting. Also, the other thing is that patients are pushing the doctors to use
Yes.
the information from the wearable. I can hear a lot of doctors right now. Every single time I have a conversation in an event, everyone is telling me like my patient is pushing me to use the data. And I can see a lot of patterns. When we were back in during the pandemics, we saw a lot of these patterns in the wearables data for temperature, for HRV, for different type of things. So we start to see this type of things with the doctors. So I mean, it depends. I think we have different type of doctors. We have the conservative ones who are a little bit more old and they only trust in the information they have in front. In fact, some of them, they don't trust even in medical devices. I mean, if they don't trust in medical devices and they only trust in what they can see, because they are more heuristic is like all the things they learn during the life. So let's say today we have more doctors that are involved with these devices, with wearable devices. They believe in longevity, they believe in prevention rather than reaction. So this is, I think, the market is changing a lot. So, and of course, those wearables are receiving the FDA clearance. So that's really interesting. We are living in a very interesting moment.
Yeah. And so, I think everyone who listens to this podcast is probably very familiar with, most wearables, whether it be a Whoop, an Aura, an Apple Watch, a Garmin, Fitbit. What other types of data are you seeing that's getting leveraged more within the healthcare and wellness space?
Yeah, I have a lot of, for example, temperature. It's a very interesting one.
Okay.
Temperature has to also for your sleep, stress levels. When you have a specific, problem, if you are going to have flu, whatever, or common cold, you see the temperature changing, HRV, but also, CGMs right now. It's something. CGMs, I think the last time we were talking about it in where was it? In Los Angeles, I think.
Okay.
We were talking about
Probably.
the CGMs, and CGMs are becoming something very interesting because you can start seeing what happened every single time that you eat different type of, food. When you eat fruits, what happened when you eat meat, what happened when you eat bread. I don't know. So it's becoming something very interesting. So blood, I think glucose is becoming something more important. And it's very funny because, for example, right now Dexcom invest, I don't remember how many millions of dollars in the Aura, for example. So you can see this relationship, or even Abbott with Lingo. Abbott, they have medical devices as CGMs, and they are approved to use by the FDA, whatever, whatever. But also they have Lingo. Lingo is more for the fitness and wellness industries. Patients, end users are open. They are open the eyes, and they can use the data. They can see patterns. They can see everything. And it's very interesting because it's like ownership. They are taking ownership of their own health. So yeah, I mean, again, temperature, blood pressure, glucose levels, those are very important. HRV, all of them. When you see the whole picture, you can start to analyze everything. So
yeah, it's really exciting. And I think, I was just at a luncheon yesterday with a bunch of people here in town, nobody really within the fitness industry. And I shook someone's hand. They're like, oh, is that a Oura ring? I'm like, yeah, a lot of conversations start that way. And we start talking about it. And, just generally everyone has a million questions for me once they find out this is the industry I'm in. And people still just don't know what to do with the data, right? They don't know what to do with their own personalized data. And I think that's probably the biggest opportunity is everyone's getting fed data. Most people don't even know what HRV is, why their resting heart rate is important. I didn't even know. Can you get blood pressure through a wearable device?
yes, there's one with Huawei.
Okay.
They have one. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So I guess the opportunity for our industry, specific to fitness and wellness, as we kind of converge in health, is helping people make sense of it, taking actionable steps to improve their health based on the data. So, and I know that's something you guys do too, is you bring the data in, you actually make it usable for the companies that you work with. And then, as a result, the end consumer as well. Give us an example, maybe paint a picture of us, what is the opportunity for us within this industry to capture wearable data and make it usable for our clients and then leverage that in a business setting? And maybe, I don't know if you have any examples of people you work with or people you're seeing doing it successfully, but yeah, what's the opportunity for us, Mark?
Yeah, definitely. It's a huge opportunity right now with all the information that the wearables can give you. And definitely there is a real problem that no one knows what to do with the data. For example, the Apple Watch. When you go directly to your health kit and you see all the information, it's very difficult to make sense of all this information. It's it's overwhelming. Exactly. It's where do I start? How can I see the patterns? You have to be very involved, and you have to take a lot of ownership, and you have to read, and you have to understand, and you have to, just to make a correlations between your HRV, temperature, blood pressures, sleep data, stress levels. So it's too many things in one place. I think, for example, Whoop and the Auras and these Fitbit also, they are trying to do something with the data. I think that we are not yet over there because every single one has their own health kit, a health score and different, scores. And it's a very difficult to understand exactly who has which one is the source of truth, right? So I have the Whoop, I have the Aura, I have the Apple Watch, I have everything, and I can tell you that the information. I have everything. We have the Happy Ring, we have the Ultra Human, we have everything, and we love it. By the way, every single one has a specific thing and a specific biomarker, which is completely different from the other one, and that's where Rook enter in the equation. We are the ones who help those industries that want to leverage all the information because every single end user have different wearable, and it's perfect. It's okay. Even freaks like me that have 4 wearables in the same in their own body. So I have the 8 sleep, by the way, in my room. So again, every single one has different information, and it's very different. So try to normalize and standardize everything for those companies that want to use this data. It's very important. I think they are the ones who can do more with the information. For example, remote patient monitoring. I think that specific area is very interesting for me, and because it's on my my background, it's in with clinical trials and this type and this industry, it's becoming more interesting. But there's a huge opportunity over there to start to make sense of all this information. What we do and we are trying to help at this moment, it's mainly extract all the data, squeeze the information from the wearable, try to standardize, normalize, no matter which wearable you are using, and we deliver clean and structured data, but we are very granular data. We deliver the small information, the heart, the beat of your heart every second. So we try to give those companies all this information, but very standardized, so they can put like graphics or health scores or different type of things that can help to improve people's lives with an AI, could be, or whatever. In fact, I think also we are trying to do the same thing. We have a lot of algorithms in our own cloud that can help to make some insights to those clients. So, but still, we are in that momentum that there is a huge opportunity to make sense, all these data, because it's too much thing at the same time. It's like a open AI. It took like, I don't know, 10, 15 years to be where we are today. And also it's not so accurate. But the information, every single time that they bring more updates and versions, it's more accurate. It depends which type of data you are putting in each agent or in chat or whatever. Everything is around the data. If you have clean and structured data, you can do a lot of stuff, a lot. When I was working in big pharma, that was my approach and my one of the things that I learned. They have very good data inside the company. They have very good data in the clinical trials. They are very careful the way they extract the data from each patient, because if they have clean data, the results are going to be really great. And we are in that momentum. So I learned before to do that. I'm implementing the same thing with my company. It's try to bring clean data, structured data, so now you can use it for a specific purpose.
Awesome. Artificial intelligence. It's hard to get out of a conversation without talking about it. But, I think the promise or the vision has always been that wearable data comes in, health data comes in, all these different sources, right? You can get maybe twice a year, you get a blood panel done. That data comes in. Now, through AI, like you can get super personalized suggestions, meal plans, like time to go to sleep, hydration, like all these different things. Like you get as granular, as personalized as you want. And that's kind of the vision. And then it also becomes very inexpensive, right? Like at scale, this can become very, very inexpensive, and everyone can have, their own private doctor essentially. So when you think about a world like that, is it science fiction? Do you think it's coming? Is it here now? Can we do it now? Or what do you think it'll take to get to that level of personalization?
I think we are moving towards that. I think that we are not yet there. Also because we are not asking the right questions. Because it's like, for example, you have Whoop right now, they have an AI integrated. No one knows what to ask over there. It's like you know what to do with it to be healthy. It's do your workouts, sleep well. Maybe something that changes when you are drinking, for example, alcohol. If you drink 3 hours before you go to sleep, maybe you will see less problems in the night, or you will be less stressed during night. But these type of things also help you to improve your all the things that you are doing all days. So I think that we are not yet in that momentum that we can use AI for our personal health. We need the doctors, and I think we always will need them. Just AI is a tool. That's the important thing. It's a tool. We are not changing the doctor. We are not changing your psychiatrist. Even though that, I don't know if you tried that, but it's like the other day I was playing with OpenAI, with ChatGPT, and I put him like a specific agent to be my psychologist. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. The answers, really, believe me, and give me very good advices, very good ones. So I mean, It's a tool. Definitely, it's a real good tool. But we are not yet over there. Also, because people, before everyone was using Google, right? So I have a specific symptom, and I was, yeah, and before everyone was in Google, like, typing, hey, I have this symptom, what do I have? And everyone was scared and different type of things. But now with the AI, I think now we can go a little bit more specific. I not encourage anyone to use it for that purpose. However, you can start navigate. And the other day I heard a very good, answer to a doctor. And someone asked like, hey, are you not scared now that people is asking more to the ChatGPT rather than go to your doctors? And I
Interesting.
really love, and the answer was, no, I'm super happy about it because now people is taking ownership, and that changed the equation. And that's something that a doctor answered for that specific question. A very good doctor. He's a national doctor in the hospital of Mayo Clinic or whatever. So I really love the answer. And I think the answer for everything, it's like the ownership of the patient on the end user.
It'll be interesting too. That always makes me think about how the education in the medical profession may change to focus on basic health data. Like, how do they start to leverage it and use it in their practice, and who will be the pioneers in that space, right? And I think a lot of them are, think of like a Gary Brecka or something like that, like these people who are, kind of out on the floor. Maybe they're not traditionally educated through the medical profession, but they're doing unique things. So yeah, it's pretty fascinating. When you look at like within our industry, fitness and wellness, like who is leveraging wearable data well? I mean, is there any particular use cases, maybe someone you guys work with or someone, that you think we should emulate, we could look at? Like where would you point us on that?
I mean, there's a lot of companies in the fitness, well, not a lot, but everyone is starting to use it for different purposes, like, for example, eGym. eGym, I think they are doing really great. I think they are trying to incorporate all these tools, wearables in the hardware devices and bring you different type of things. I think at some point everyone is going to tell us exactly how many repetitions with what weight and all these type of things that can help us to improve the way you are doing the workouts. And we have clients. I can't unfortunately tell everyone because we have a disclosure with some of them and they are very big, but they are doing very well. They are trying to help. They have like agents, they have like virtual coaches that give you a lot of insights. Like, I'm using one specific one, and they are our clients, and they have like an agent. So they have this coach that since the beginning know how many workouts you do during the week, during the year. And on top of that, they give you like, hey, let's add, real feedback. I love the feedback that they give me because they analyze my weight, my height, and everything. And then they give me like, hey, you have to do more, aerobic exercises because you are doing a lot of only weight things. And if you want to burn your fat, you have to do this type of exercises. So very interesting one. I really love what they are doing. They raised, I don't know how many millions during, I think was a couple of years ago, 1 year ago. I don't remember, but they are doing very well, great. We are working with a lot of those companies that are trying to bring something to the end user, which is very important. And, fitness industry is very, very complicated because the retention is something that it's not easy, and not all the people has the discipline to continue doing, exercise. So get bored or whatever, right? So I think it's very competitive at the end of the day. And I think AI can help to bring more this type of engagement with the end user, and bring more personalized experience for nutrition, for exercise, workouts, different type of things. I can see more of these type of things. And I think today the big differentiator also, it's like, yes, you can add this type of tools like us and bring all these insights and create AI and different type of things. But also it's like there's like a division right now with a standard and premium. The premium, I think, is going to be a little bit more with someone really helping you, a person helping you to improve your experience. So I think the freemium right now is going to be with these AI tools. That's my only advice for everyone who is starting. Like, freemium is going to be in the normal, the new thing, and the standard is going to be the AI with virtual coach with all this information from wearables, and the premium one is going to be with someone who is really a person.
Huh. So basically you're saying is like coaching will be the premium.
Yes.
Right. Like that human touch. And I think that's, I've heard so many people say it in different ways, but AI is not going to replace the trainer or the coach or the practitioner, but coaches, trainers, practitioners that use AI will replace ones that don't. And I think that's like something like I can't say it. I want to say it again so people hear me when I say it, but like really, if you're not, it's kind of like when wearable data first came out. I was a gym owner and coach. It's probably, I don't know, 2012 maybe. Like Fitbits were starting to come out, and like
was Polar. I think Polar was
the
Polar,
whatever. Like people were starting to wear, and people, I every once in a while would get a question. Hey, what do I do with like what does my resting heart rate mean, or what's HRV, or what do I do with this, right? And that's when I decided like, well, I just gotta get a couple wearables, and I gotta start to understand what all this is, and maybe doing a little bit of that's when I got Joel Jamieson's first chest strap, a BioStrap, and started testing HRV and getting a feel for it. And I think that's if you're in the industry right now, you should have ChatGPT or Claude or whatever it is that you want, have it open on your desktop and just start using it. Like play around with it. 10, 15 minutes a day. Just like I just planned my itinerary to a trip to Japan. It was the best. It's my personal assistant. Like there's so many things you can use it for, and maybe like I give it your blood work and see what it spits out with that. So there's a lot of different things I think people need to be doing. One of the things I want to cover with you, it's not the sexiest topic for most people, but it's so critically important, and that's data privacy.
Yes.
And maybe you can explain to me, like I'm 7 years old, Marco, like why is it something we should be concerned about? Why is it such a tricky thing? And this is coming off the heels of 23andMe, filing for Chapter 11. Everyone's worried about, well, what's going to happen to all my genetic data that they have? Like, what are they going to sell it off? Is it going to be private? Is it protected? So yeah, maybe it's insight is like, why is data privacy so big when it comes to this particular area? And what should we know?
Data privacy, it's a really, really, and I would love to go deep over there, but maybe we need like another hour just for this topic, because it's really interesting. I love it. In fact, I really love it, and that's why we have a very strong structure for that. My background, again, it's biomedical, always in the healthcare space with big pharma, and data privacy. It's one of the most important things. So when I was in big pharma, the only way to extract data from patients and different people was through the informed consent, which is like what we have today in data privacy, right? So it's like agreements that you can share the data. But the most important thing is, since before there was HIPAA and GDPR and all these type of things, which is the way how everything is implemented. Also the way how you share an email. How do you extract the data? How do you keep the data? How much time do you keep the data? You have to de-identify, anonymize all this information. So anyone, knows that it's Eric Malzone who has, I don't know how many years, and, you have to de-identify everything. So it's very interesting right now how things are evolving, because before it was more in the healthcare space. Now it's more in the fitness and wellness. Everything that you share, you are the owner. The end user definitely is the owner of this data. No questions around it. However, you as an end user, if you want to share your data with your insurance company, with your doctor, with whatever you want, you can do it. So we are the ones who also can help to do it in a very secure way, because we implemented so many doors, locks, and different type of things that can help that, which is it's quite important. So something that I learned here in the US is there's a lot of scam. I'm not sure how they take all my data. I receive emails or mail, with USPS. I receive mails, a lot of mails receiving from Marco Benitez and bringing me like scam around my house and my insurance. I don't know how many things at the same time. Or I receive calls. So it's like what's going on here? That type of things never happened to me in Mexico. For me, was a very impactful because
Really?
yeah, believe me, it's a scam. There is a scam.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
other ways to scam over there in Mexico. You receive calls that someone have a kidnap your family or whatever, but it's like a real scam, right? So it's different scam. But for me, it was I was impressed how everyone can, have your data, or even, that like, was the last year, I think, was a leak in the social security's numbers. I was one, well, my kids were one of those, that received this letter saying that the social security we have a leak over there. Well, they have a leak, the government have a leak over there. So it's like impressive, it's really impressive. And you have to be very careful. Where do you put your data? With whom? Why? What type of things you are receiving? I can tell you there's a lot of layers when we are talking about the data, and where do you share all this information. So that's why we are investing a lot. Believe me when I'm saying that we are investing at least the 40 to 60% of all the investments that we have are just specific for data. And every single time we have an audit from a specific client that it's working with insurance, they are very surprised that because of the type of company that we are, we have this type of, processes in place.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and it's, what I like. Even just as a podcaster, I've noticed over the last 6 months, and this is where like AI and data plus scamming comes into play. Like, I get I get pitched 2 to 4 times a day for guests, and it's the same freaking formula. They must just like take a transcript, right? Feed it into AI, pump out a couple of emails, and then like they just blast it out to people. And it's like, it's one of the reasons why what we do with Podcast Collective is meaningful to me, because I'm tired of that shit. I know other podcasters are tired of it. So we want to make sure that we're actually connecting with other podcasters, in an authentic way, but it's only going to get worse. And I don't know what to do about it. It's like, email used to be, I used to go to my email inbox, I'm going to date myself, 20 years ago, right? And it would be like, there'd be like 5 emails, and it would be from people I know. Now it's like gremlins. Like, if I feed it after midnight, like I wake up in the morning and it's exploded, and I don't know anybody. I don't know how I got on these lists, and I keep unsubscribing, but it just keeps coming back, and it's just, anyway. Paint me a picture here, Marco. So we're in 2025. Let's give it a nice time frame of 2030. When you start to like look at the future of where our healthcare, personalized healthcare, can go if we properly integrate wearable data and maybe layer in some artificial intelligence and democratize it a little bit. Where do you think this is going to go? What does that look like in 5 years?
Oh man, for me, it's very exciting. Every single time a new wearable medical device it's outside, I'm the first one trying to prove or learn something around it. But I can see a future in 5 years from now or 10 years from now where everyone will have a wearable and can track everything. And probably in 20 years, we can start seeing, how can we, to these Alzheimer problems, dementia, everything around with mental health, obesity, diabetes, at least to know which ones who has more percentage to acquire this type of diseases. So to have this type of diseases. So I think everyone is going to that direction. We can see that with the drugs too. With new drugs that are coming, are more specific. It's not so broad like before we have a specific pill, and the pill can help you in different type of things at the same time. Right now it's very specific. So I can see a future, and it's not so far, that we can start looking for this type of specific drugs, specific areas, or even like, hey, I have this problem, and then with all these AI, machine learning, different type of things, will give you the specific drug that you need with the dosage, with everything for you. I can see real this world. And this is something that the previous companies that I work, they start to do that. They bought a very big company just to do that. So they are recollecting all this information from medical devices, clinical trials, hospitals, trying to analyze everything. And they are trying to bring this specific, very personalized, customized drugs depending on your condition. So I can see that. And we are not so far.
Incredible. Last question, buddy, that I always ask is, as an industry, if people are listening, what do you need help with? If people are going to reach out to you, obviously, if they want to engage in your services and learn more about Rook, they can go to tryrook.io. Is that right? But specifically, partnerships, investments, what are you guys looking for right now? What's important?
Yeah, today very important. It's like anyone who needs this type of tools, this API, and we can help with all the problem leveraging with all the wearables. Please reach out. Definitely, that's the best way. If anyone can help us, definitely we are the solution for you, and we can help you with all the data. Please reach out to us to the webpage with tryrook.io, or we are in LinkedIn as Rook. You can reach me directly and reach out to me directly to Marco Benitez. I'm in different channels, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever you want, you can find me, or Marco at tryrook.io.
Awesome, man. Well, you guys have an amazing reputation in the market. You guys are doing really good work. And I think anyone who gets to know you and Jonas and the team, you guys are so likable. Everyone's cheering for you. So
thank you.
Great work, man. Keep it up. And ladies and gentlemen, Marco Benitez.
Thank you so much.